It is the new wave of sports sweeping the nation, where we're not just accurate but spot on. I'm your host, Tony Monkey. This is Spot On Sports. Joined with a familiar face. You guys haven't seen him in some time. That is B-Walk, host of the Walker Review. B-Walk, man, what is going on?
What's popping, everybody? What's popping, Monk? Shout out to the whole Spot On Sports family. Just been maintaining during this whole pandemic quarantine deal. Hope everybody else is out there safe, maintaining. I understand that stimulus check either didn't come or is already gone. So, hey, I know it's a lot of commotion going on in the world. So I just wanted to come in and speak my piece on what I feel.
And speaking of commotion, B, me and you have had many conversations in the past. Obviously, we can go all the way back to being downtown and talking about Colin Kaepernick and the whole kneeling issue. So we'll kind of mix in a couple of questions and just kind of go around what's actually going on in reality, in the real world, and what this could do for sports going forward. I do want to start. Obviously, America knows it as well. The impact of the death of George Floyd and what it has done and what has been the case for what seems to be as if it's happening back to back in a couple of years, but we know this has been going on, and now in the social media age, it's just being filmed. Your reactions, B-Walk, on witnessing the murder of George Floyd?
To be honest, I don't feel any different than all the other ones that I've witnessed, because I mean, anytime I see somebody, whether it's a male or a woman, I look at myself, I look at my mother, I look at my brother. Like, we always look at situations and we think, oh man, that could have been me. But in most situations, when you see that stuff filmed, you're just like, bro, like, how closer does it need to get?
Yeah.
Because I mean, we've seen stuff like this, so it doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter the sex. We're just tired of actually being brutalized to police. Because the thing is, it seems like we already have a strike against our record just by the color of our skin. And we understand that the world that we live in isn't fair. Hell, like, bro, we already know that the chips are already stacked against us. But we've always been a resilient group. We've always been a loving group. We've always been a group that has been able to achieve past what we've been expected to achieve.
Right.
So today, just watching the news, I seen like the 3 other officers were arrested. Good, that's a start. Because most of the time, you don't ever see them get arrested. You see them get administrative leave, desk duty. They still basically getting a check and wearing that uniform. So, I mean, I was appreciative to hear that they all got fired, first off. But then again, once you get fired, I need to see some charges drawn. But it's crazy that it took this long, because I guarantee people would have still protested. People would have still been out there making sure their voice was heard. But we understand that all the looters and the rioters weren't all people that look like us. Some people were taking advantage of the situation that were put against. But I wish things would have moved sooner, so that we wouldn't have had so much destruction. We wouldn't have had so many arrests. We wouldn't have had so many deaths.
B, I don't want to interrupt you on your tape. I do want to question you about the riots and the protests as a kind of, because it's kind of a combined effort. You know, the riots have to kind of mixed in with the protests. If the protests kind of go south, then the riots kind of start to happen.
Right.
Though for the Black community, we aren't the ones technically involved in the riots, but the anger from what we feel, you know, due to the death of George Floyd, the social inequality and oppression, has kind of incited this. Do you think the riots are, aside from what's actually going with the looters, do you think the riots are just?
I believe so. Now, I want to kind of be distinct and direct when I say it. A lot of the riots weren't started by us. They were started by police going and thinking they could punch you in your mouth and think, oh, this is how they basically just take it. Be a good old boy, good old girl, just take the punishment that we dishing out. Now, we understand that they were more weaponized than us. They had more equipment than us. They had more defenses than us. So I know from the views that I saw, even from people that I knew that were on the ground downtown Dallas, a lot of the riots weren't started by the people. It didn't escalate until police just started throwing tear gas or macing people just for no reason. Now, you got to understand, whatever reaction, it comes another reaction. So with the rioting, I'll say this: if you were out there rioting just to riot, don't say you were doing that for George Floyd. Because in the end, that's not what the family wanted. That's not what George Floyd would want. Now, other than Minnesota, because I think it's the only state that I feel that has the real reason to burn stuff down to the ground was Minnesota, because they watched this man die on live on a social media platform, and then from there they watched the officers go home. They watched them sleep in their beds, and then nothing was done. So you can actually feel the aggression, the anger that they experience. Now, across the United States and actually the world, we saw a lot of protests being done. But at the same time, a lot of those lootings and things like that were done just by people trying to take advantage of the situation that was dealt. Now, for sure, the protests were all for George Floyd, all for that. But when it came down to the rioting, I know that was a lot started by the police, like in Dallas. They were actually caught on tape, whether it was a sky cam or people just seeing them doing actually dropping bricks off. Now, people continue to have the narrative that people were bringing bricks to the protest to start something. But, I mean, people equated this to the crack in the 80s. How did you drop something off in the neighborhood and expect that the people that live in that area not to utilize the stuff that you guys dropped off? Right. So it seems like the law enforcement were inciting the riot by delivering the materials. You guys were delivering the ammunition used to break the windows, loot these buildings. And then they switch it around and say, hey, well, we got a lot of people out here acting like animals. We need to we got to go in and we got to rough them up. And then just the way this country's president, because I can never claim it as my president, the way he speaks about as far as just mobilizing. I understand, because I have my parents were both in the Army. I've had cousins who've been in the Navy. You don't utilize the Army against your own kind. Right. The last time I believe the Army was utilized like that was, I can't forget the year, but if you watch the movie Detroit, when those riots broke out, they brought the National Guard in. You got to understand, the armed forces and the National Guard is only trained to kill. They're not trained to de-escalate situations. They're not trained. You may have 1 out of 10 people that are trained as negotiators, but the other 9 out of 10 are trained to kill. So they're not there to reason with people. They're not there to understand their pain. They're brought in to kill. So my fault.
No, I'm sorry. And here's kind of a more of a personal question. Obviously, yeah, you being a young black man in America, you know, being fortunate to have the platforms that we do, and having to use those platforms to be able to reach a multitude of people to be able to explain our feelings and our pain to them, so that they may hope to understand. You all, what is it to be a black man in America in this day and
time? It's a multitude of things I can say. Man, where do I start? Like,
that's the question I think that everybody actually needs to know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to describe because you got to really live in my skin to feel how I feel. I can explain stuff to you to where my last year in college, I was racially profiled because I went into my girlfriend's dorms at the time to wash my clothes. And he said, yeah, you don't go to school here. If you come back here again, I'm going to arrest you for trespassing when I'm still a student here. My tuition and fees pay to keep this water running in this building. I guarantee if I was white, I wouldn't have had that kind of conversation. Right. I've never just fully experienced blatant racism until that time. But like I said before, once we come into this world, we're born with a strike on our record simply because of the color of our skin. I can be racially profiled simply, bro. If I wear a do-rag in public, people are gonna automatically say I'm a thug, I'm a gangster. Bro, I just want to have my waves laid. I'm not trying to start nothing. I'm not trying to present an image that is nothing that is not me. But because they see me with a do-rag and they equate, a do-rag is equivalent to a bandana, which equivalates to me being a gang member. That means I must be up to something, must be up to no good. It continues to present that stereotype that all black people are the same. And it's crazy that a lot of our white counterparts, they say, well, all police are not bad police. It's just a few bad apples. And I was on a podcast that I do production for. Shout out to the Swelly podcast. My frat brother Dante, he said Muhammad Ali said, if there's 100 rattlesnakes outside your door and only 10 of them are bad, are you gonna let all of them in just to test the waters and see, how many of these are good or bad? No, you got to link them all the same.
100
So
best
I
mix.
understand that people try to look at black people in the same manner, and bro, it's caused us to look at the police in the same manner
B Wall, I think.
because
I'm sorry to interrupt you again. I think as we, look at us and coming up in age and looking at our fellow black brothers have to take, uh, the short end of the stick on a lot of things. And obviously, me and you've done a lot of shows together. I don't always get opportunities to really give my opinion like I need to because I have to narrate so much.
yeah, you
But
gotta be the narrator.
yeah, but I think for us, man, I never want to turn a blind eye to what's going on. I think
Mhm.
the black community needs to find a way to unite through a means of strategy.
Right.
And I think the protests are a good start, but here's my thing. I think consistency with these protests is even better. And I'm not talking about a week and a half of marching and yelling and doing all of this only to go back and get off the hamster wheel that we are on. And then we do this all over again when another guy or another black man or woman has their life taken. And I
Mhm.
think we have to find a way to get to the solution that we need and unify. And even I do love the fact that everyone's kind of putting more of a, a spotlight on black businesses. But here's my thing with that. B, and I know you can attest to this because you own one yourself. Why
Mhm.
does it have to get to this point before we have to do something like that? I think in the times to where there is peace or relative peace, the black community should be finding ways to unify ourselves, unify the businesses, unify the individuals and personnel to be able to get something together that combats this and
Mhm.
not wait to we have to lose an Alton Sterling or a Trayvon Martin or George Floyd or to get to this point to say what do we got to do to make sure this doesn't happen again. Which brings me to my question, B. What's the solution? Some solution, if any, if it's not the protests, if it's not the riots, what can the black community do to break systematic oppression and social inequality, even if it's a long-term thing?
Well, during this whole watching the news and the protest, that's the main thing that's been on my mind because you've seen a lot of cancel culture going along. Like we see Desi Banks getting canceled, B. Simone getting canceled. Who else? Trina them been
And
canceled
let me
too.
ask you, and I'm sorry, but let me ask you something. My mind's really starting to get going with this conversation we're doing. Watching what they said, obviously everybody mourns and deals with things differently. And I'm not
Right.
saying they were right, but were they wrong in the sense of what they were saying? Because you do have some people that say we want peace. Just taking that Martin Luther King approach, while us or a majority of the black community now saying Malcolm X is chiming in. We
Mm-hmm.
need to fight fire with fire. Were they wrong in saying what they said?
I mean, I say it like this: no, they're not wrong in what they say because this is what, and I don't want to be long-winded when I say this, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to spread some history and some understanding on a lot of things. So let's talk. Let's just get to the root of it. Let's talk about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King.
Right.
Malcolm X was for militarizing and protecting his own people. Martin Luther King was for being peaceful in his protests. Both were effective. Now it seems like people automatically think that it's only one way to succeed in this journey that we're looking for. And
Right.
they think, oh, militarizing and going and beating a man and shooting the police and causing a lot of destruction is going to be what makes it happen. Bruh, this is what I'm on. One, you have to understand that when it comes down to the full root of things, people need to take this time now to do their research. I guarantee most people don't only vote or understand what they're doing when they're voting when it comes down to the presidential candidates, Democrat or Republican. Bruh, just like sports heads can go and read Kyler Murray stats from high school to the Cardinals, just like we can keep up with records from the Cowboys from 1999 to 2020. I need y'all to know who these DAs are. I need
Yeah.
you guys to know who these mayors are. I don't need you guys getting to that poll booth and being like, I don't know who this is. I'm just going to vote Democrat. Because I need you guys to know these people like you know they're your favorite player. Because this is the thing. When you know who you're voting for, you can put people in power that have your same interests. When you vote blindly, you put somebody in a position that doesn't have your best interests. You just basically picking D all of the above and hoping that's the right answer. We have to be more diligent in our research. Okay? Because there's a lot of people in place that are running to make sure that they have our backs. These police chiefs, these mayors, these city council, your school board. You need to know what is going on in your community. Because if the only thing that you knowingly vote for is Republican or Democrat when it comes down to the presidential candidate, you're not doing a full job. Because we understand that the president doesn't fully run everything. How many things has Trump tried to push and got blocked? A lot. I guarantee that wall in Mexico still ain't built. So it's a lot of things that you got to understand that, bro. If you do your research, know fully what's going on. And then also when it comes to that, bro, don't say we got to mean what we say when we say support Black businesses, okay? And this is going to be the first. I'm going to start off with this because I made a tweet about it yesterday. If you are going to be a Black entrepreneur, customer service matters. Yeah. Don't sell me a service and then hit me with, oh, my bad, Kim Folk, you know how it is. No, because just because you're the same color as me doesn't mean I have to accept piss poor customer service. I've dealt with a lot of Black businesses who don't fully understand the reason behind customer service and then expect you to continue to come back and spend your money. If you wouldn't allow a white person to treat you any kind of way, I need you to treat me the same way you want to be treated. Give me the same kind of business acumen and respect that you want me to have, so I can continue to keep my dollars in the Black hands more than 6 hours. Okay, so not only that, we need to. What else? I'm trying to think of my mind racing. It's really racing.
I didn't mean to get you started.
Really hold people accountable,
right?
Because the thing is, just like I said, Minnesota has showed up. These public schools, they took their money out their police department. They defunding these police. They taking their money, hit them where it hurt, where they pocket. So you see, they open up the world because they needed that money. You understand what really makes America move, which is currency. Yeah. Hit them where it hurt. If y'all want to go protest, go. And the thing is that really made me mad about Dallas. They didn't bust the grape when the gentleman was killed in his apartment, Botham Jean. They didn't bust the grape. Mm-hmm. When Tina Jefferson was shot in her house, they didn't bust the grape. But because they start tearing up stuff in Minnesota, now they feel like, oh yeah, now we got the ammo to go do what we want to do. Stop it. Don't be followers. We always speak on how much people have taken from Dallas culture, whether it's been our dance moves, our hairstyles, our swag, whatever. Don't be followers in this point. We need to be leaders. So hold the police department accountable. Start taking that money. Hold your school district accountable. Because DISD, you guarantee you see Dallas police departments up there. If you don't appreciate what you're doing, hey, check that school board. Hey, I need my funding pool immediately.
B-Walk, I'm going to ask you this last question, then we'll let you go. We'll take this one to the NFL. Obviously, Drew Brees was asked a question on.
Oh, yeah, let me get him.
About his thoughts on, the whole kneeling thing with Colin Kaepernick that happened just a couple of years back, 2016 to be exact. And, he began to speak on not wanting the flag to be disrespected, and his family, both his grandfathers having been in the military. What point is Drew Brees missing?
Drew Brees is like a lot of the clueless white Americans in this country. And I don't want to be funny about it. And I'm just saying this, bro. Have you ever watched like Glory Road? Have you ever watched I can't even think of the man. What's the movie with Denzel when he was crying?
Remember the Titans.
Not remember. That was one, but with Samuel L. Jackson in it too.
I know which one you're talking about. I know which one you're talking about.
But it's gonna come to me before we get off. But
okay.
And the thing is, I don't want them to try to educate themselves through movies because that's childish. Right. I need you to pick up some real literature and educate yourself. But here's the thing. I guarantee Drew Brees is not stupid. He graduated and went to Purdue University. That's a very elite university. Man. Right. Okay. You got to understand the protest. What Cap was doing was never about the flag, never once. That's what white media does. They take a narrative and they spin it in their favor, so they can always be looked at as the goats or the glorified people of it all. Kneeling was never about the flag. We respect the flag because guess what? That's why we still live here. If we didn't respect the flag, we would have been revolted and burned the White House down by now. If we didn't respect the flag. Because to be honest, when people tell us go back home, bro, we don't know Africa. I've never stepped foot in Africa. If I know I'm African American, but I've never taken on ancestry.com to see where my roots are from. So I don't
Right.
know where I'm from. I'm from Dallas, Texas. That's
Yeah.
all I know. So for you to sit here and bring how you feel about it, this whole thing has never been about how white America feels about it. It's always been about how black America feels about it. We've had people going back from the Civil War, Vietnam, World War I, World War II, who had fought for this country and came back to not have a pot to piss in. So is that liberty? Is that liberty? To where I can go, possibly die, possibly get my leg blown off, possibly get my eye shot out, possibly lose a whole limb, then to come back for you to treat me like a second-class citizen or I owe you money. That's where the disrespect and the discord comes from. And the thing is, Drew Brees, NFL, and even Nick Bosa, because I'm going to throw him in there too, because to be honest, I know for a fact the only reason why he got some flack or some slack is because those comments he made was in high school or a freshman in college. Because if he would have said it in 2019, 2020, it wouldn't have been too sweet for him. So I understand that's why he caught some flack, because, oh, he was young, he learned from his mistakes. Black people don't get to learn from our mistakes. Because why? We get shot in the middle of the street. So what we're talking about is Drew Brees. Majority of your prolific receivers going back in New Orleans State's history, even though he didn't play with Joe Horn, black man.
Marcus Colston,
black man. Michael Thomas, and now Emmanuel Sanders, black man. Jimmy Graham, black man. You are now telling them that what I feel about you doesn't matter, because I'm going to prioritize my grandfather over your lack of respect in this country. Now, this is what I want to. Good thing is, somebody asked me, do you think they're going to pull him aside and talk to him? I said, bro, this is what I would do. I would check him face to face, bro. If you're not down with us, hey, bro, be honest. At this point, these parents are getting guaranteed money. You ain't got to be pressed to play. I'll go out there and be like, any given Sunday, I start fixing games. Oh, my bad. I couldn't catch that ball. Because this your last year anyway, ain't it, Drew? Because you got to, and to be honest, I looked on social media. It's a lot of, matter of fact, what's the young man's name? Not Preston Smith, but Zachary Smith for the Green Bay Packers. He has made a post, and he's circling that Saints game. You thought Bounty Gate was something?
I mean, tough season for Brees.
Okay. Now you got people want your head. Your own teammates, Malcolm Jenkins, is now back on the New Orleans Saints. When you cause the commotion and discord in your own locker room, how do you expect to win? And I guarantee, watch tomorrow, he gonna have some sympathetic sorry. But the thing is, this is where I'm at. When people show you their true colors, believe it. Yeah. Because I'm not gonna say his apology is not gonna be sincere. But you already showed me what you really feel.
The first time around.
You showed me. My white grandfathers mean more to me than it does you guys have injustice in this country. So when he comes back with that apology, understand what he said first. Now, I'm not saying people are not eligible to come back and fix their mistakes, but that needs to be shown by action. That needs to be shown by, because, bro, you in New Orleans, the home of the loving black people. Like, what are you doing? Right. Because the thing is, bro, fans are already burning their jersey. What happens when them fans turn on you? And then your teammates turn on you. And to be honest, understand Sean Payton has loyalty to Drew Brees. Drew Brees, you got one little year left. How much loyalty do you expect him to give to you? You think he's going to give more loyalty to the people that's going to continue to pay money and support their team? Or a quarterback that's on his last leg in his last year already on his way out the league?
Definitely a bad message for Brees. As far as obviously to the rest of the black community, everybody, we hope that you did enjoy this show, and obviously listening to B-Walk and everything that he had to say. Definitely one of the better activists that I know, especially for the black community, and making sure that each of us get ours and that we all on the right track. Obviously, guys, this is Spot on Sports B-Walk. Definitely appreciate you for being able to chime in, my man. Give me a last closing statement to the community.
Okay, last closing statements. You guys stay prayed up. Do your research. understand that Texas, we have our voting coming up. If you
Yes,
guys are not
vote.
registered to
Please
vote,
vote.
get it done ASAP. Because this is where I'm at, fam. If you sit here and later on say you don't vote, I may smack you in your face. Because at this point, bro, if you don't vote, that means you just like the other people that don't care. And we've already seen everybody that's your skin folk and your kin folk.
Nah, not at all.
So, hey, bro, be part of the solution or join the bandwagon that's part of the problem.
You know that man here that is B-Walk. You can check out the Walker review. And make sure you go check out the Swilly podcast with Dante, man. He's doing a lot of good work on that.
Dante, Ziggy, and my boy Smitty. It's three of them. They're going to get mad, but I'm just saying.
Hey,
give them all they love.
Hey, already Dante, you know B-Walk, you know, I didn't know it was three guys, but I had to just shout out the podcast anyway.
They may clown you. I'm just saying.
I had to tell Dante to show me some love. I shouted out the podcast, and obviously, JR did do an interview with Dante behind the lights to get into the Swilly color and everything that he's got going on with that. We'll be dropping that later on the show. You'll see more of B-Walk as time goes. He's a busy man right now out here saving the world one day at a time. But obviously, B-Walk, man, we thank you, man. I hope you're being safe out there. If you do plan to get into anything as far as protests, man, be safe with that. Be safe with the whole quarantine thing. And
yes, sir.
We miss you here at this, here at Geek Leaks and with the
Hold on, I'm trying to support another black business. Hold on.
Throw it at me, man.
Get a mask from Mayor Dallas. All right, I just got compliments. If you are reading this, you are too close. So back up.
Social distancing is
MAE Dallas.
Social distancing is definitely a key part. Actually, we hope everybody is definitely doing keeping the social distance. Obviously, the protests are the only kind of excuse that we kind of have, to get around everybody and do what we have to do. Again, y'all, it's the Spot on Sports. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, drop us a like, check out more SOS discussions, click that notification bell, get notified. We got Mike on exactly. You can see more of B-Walk on our YouTube channel as well, on the podcast of SOS Nation with Bruce Taylor. B, you stay safe out there, man, and everyone, we'll see you guys next time.
Y'all be safe and y'all be blessed.